afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. In just a few weeks, the school bell will ring for the last time and some 95,000 Vermont school kids will be off on summer vacation. Summer is generally a fun and carefree time for kids, but it's also the time of year when children are at the highest risk of going hungry. During the school year, 40% of Vermont students receive free or reduced price school meals. Those meals provide a consistent source of nutritious food, but when school closes for the summer, children suddenly lose access to the school meal programs. That's where the summer food program comes in. To find out more, I'm joined by two guests. Diane Mincher is a nutrition and food specialist with UVM Extension, and she's based in Middlebury. Also with me is Amanda Karen. Amanda is the child nutrition advocate with Hunger Free Vermont, and she coordinates statewide efforts to ensure that Vermont kids have access to good nutrition and enrichment activities during the summer. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Now, Amanda, to what extent is hunger an issue in Vermont?
Well, unfortunately, hunger truly is a significant issue in Vermont, although it's often a hidden issue. We have a lot of hidden poverty in Vermont that's dispersed throughout our state. But in fact, 13% of all Vermont households are what's called food insecure, meaning that they lack access to enough food to fully meet their basic needs at all times due to a lack of financial resources. So we have about 85,000 Vermonters who find themselves in this situation. And that includes about 6% of our seniors, and it includes a lot of our kids in this state. Like you touched on, we have over 40% of students in Vermont now relying on free and reduced price school meals during the year. And we find that this problem disproportionately tends to affect households with children. So we find that 1 in 5 Vermont kids is coming from a food insecure household versus about 1 in 7 or 1 in 8 adults. You'll see another statistic on the television right now that says that about 10% of children depend on food shelves each month. So these numbers tell us a lot about the extent of hunger in Vermont and that we do have a significant issue. But what's really struck me in the course of my work at Hunger Free Vermont in the last couple of years is that every school food service director, every principal, every teacher that I talk to personally knows children who are struggling with hunger. Wow. And that really makes the issue real for me.
Diane, how does living in a food insecure home impact children?
Well, children who are hungry usually have poor diets. They aren't getting enough nutrients to sustain them. Their growth, their learning are delayed many times. Other risk could be obesity, poor academic performance in school, and they have increases in aggression or hyperactivity also.
Oh my goodness. Well, Amanda, so in the introduction I mentioned the summer food program.
Right.
How does it work?
So I like to describe it as sort of like a cousin to the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program because it works very similarly. It's also funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's administered in our state by the Agency of Education. And it's designed to fill that nutrition gap that opens up for kids when those subsidized school lunch and breakfast just suddenly end in June when school closes. So the way it works is that any nonprofit organization can sponsor a summer meal site. They may sponsor one summer meal site, they may sponsor multiple summer meal sites. And these are congregate meal sites, meaning that kids come together to eat at these locations. The sponsors then reimbursed based on how many meals they serve. So it's based on volume, it's not a grant to run the program. Eligibility works a little bit differently in the summer food program than it does in the school year program. So in the school year, we separate kids out based on their household income into free, reduced, and paying. Mm-hmm. In the summer, we don't tend to do that. We look at geographic areas, and a whole town or a whole neighborhood might be deemed eligible. And in that area, sponsors are able to offer free meals to kids. So I think that's really important for folks to understand is that a lot of these summer meal programs are offering free meals to kids. And some of these sites are closed, meaning that kids need to sign up ahead of time to participate, but then they'll get free meals once they're at the site. But a lot of sites are open, basically drop-in meal sites. Where any child 18 or under can drop in to get a free meal at that site. And it doesn't matter about their individual income eligibility, and it doesn't even matter where they're from. So it's a very flexible program in that way.
Is it successful in reaching the people that you want to reach?
It is. It depends on kind of where the program is based. We see a lot of variation. It's designed to be a more inclusive program in the summer. So we have all kinds of kids from different backgrounds who are receiving summer meals. And certainly it's a really important resource for some of those kids who lose access to free and reduced. When we look at the numbers, there's still a big gap when we compare. There's about 6,000 kids, 6,000 to 7,000 kids who are accessing summer meals. Mm-hmm. When we compare that to the 37,000 who receive free and reduced price meals during the year, despite the fact that we've seen a lot of growth in the program, those numbers really tell us that we still have a long way to go to reach all of those kids who could really benefit from this resource.
And so, Diane, where are some of these summer food sites located?
So we want to have the sites where the kids are, so that it alleviates the transportation problems that may occur for in the summer.
Right.
So some of the sites are at the recreation parks in town. It could be at a school where there's already enriched programs happening. It could be at a church. It could be at the pool. It could be at a trailer park, a community center as part of a housing development. So it could be anywhere. So it's just where the kids are.
Mm-hmm. Is that part of the success behind it, is the fact that it can be so flexible?
Yes, I think so. And so a lot of communities are trying to figure out where's the easiest place where kids can come.
And so, Amanda, how many summer meal sites are there?
So last summer, in 2012, there were 231 summer meal sites across the state of Vermont, and 140 of those were these open meal sites where any child 18 or under can drop in and get a free meal. So again, it sounds like a lot of sites. We have seen a lot of growth in this program in recent years, which is terrific. We have a lot of momentum. But again, if you look at the numbers, kind of estimating how many kids are accessing the program in the summer and compare that to free and reduced eligible kids during the school year, we still have a long way to go before we're really reaching all of the kids that really need this program.
What are some of the roadblocks to getting more sites?
Yeah, so what we found, Vermont's a very rural state and everything is really spread out. And so transportation is a huge barrier. It's different when you think about a place like New York City or something.
Right.
You could have a summer meal site in a park and kids can get there. They can bike, they can walk, and they can go up, leave after the meal and go about their day. That's harder to pull off in Vermont. So what we find is really the most successful programs, meal programs, are couched in some other kind of activity program for kids, or they're located in a place where kids are already coming together, like a community pool. Mm-hmm. We have some photos showing now some of the summer meal sites around the state. And it really varies the way that sponsors have made this program work in Vermont. Sometimes it's combined with a really more formal, structured enrichment program. Sometimes transportation is actually offered as a part of the program, and that's ideal. But there are other sites that have just come up with really simple activity ideas to fill half a day or a full day, ideally. Offer the kids something else to do than just 20 minutes for a meal and then you're on your way.
Right. And so one of the meal sites is part of MiddSummer Camp in Middlebury. And Diane, I know you have some specific information about that site.
Yeah. I'm part of the group that organized this MiddSummer Camp. MiddSummer Camp is held at Mary Hogan School in Middlebury, and it's a 5-week camp that is offered Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And during that time, they receive breakfast, snack, lunch, and another snack. And many times they go home with groceries to prepare a dinner for themselves and their family, or even a snack for the weekend to survive the weekend, a healthy snack.
I think it's hard for a lot of people who might be watching this to realize that there's that kind of a need, that kids have to go to summer camp and bring food back for their families.
Yeah. Our main mission is to make sure that kids do not go hungry during the summer. So another thing this camp does is the first week right after school ends, they begin programming. Unfortunately, it only goes 5 weeks right now, and hopefully eventually we can raise enough funds to make it go throughout the whole summer.
Tell me a little bit about how the camp is sort of adapted over the years to address the need.
Well, in the beginning, we only offered camp 4 days a week. We always took a week off in between the end of school and the beginning of camp. So we're trying to make changes. Right now we only have enough room for 30 campers each week. Many come back repeating weeks, but we'd love to increase that. The age group we targeted is grades 4 through 7th grade. And we felt this was an age group that many programs do not address. And many families think, oh, these kids, my kids can stay home by themselves. And so what are they doing when they stay home? They watch television, they sit on the couch, they grab whatever they can in the kitchen if there is food available. So we're trying to enrich their days with all kinds of activities. One of our main goals is to increase their nutrition knowledge. We have gardening at the school where they plant, they harvest, they take care of the garden. They take some of that food and they actually prepare it for their snack or part of the meal. We also are part of a Chick to Plate program with the Hannaford Career Center, where they go over on Fridays and they tend the chickens, raise the chickens, move the hoop houses around, and learn that process, plus gardening over there too.
And so how is the camp funded?
Oh, the camp is funded. Well, MiddSummer Camp has a board, and it's about 10 people from the community. And in the beginning, it started as a need, and a lot of the religious organizations were the members of this group. And now it has branched out a little bit, but still it's affiliated with churches. And we have hired a camp administrator that works year-round part-time. And she's the one that writes our grants for us. And fortunately, we have a grant from United Way with Addison County, plus several other grants that help fund the program. We hire camp counselors, a camp director. So we're in need of funds all the time.
Right. Yeah. And so if someone's interested in signing up for the camp, how can they do that?
Well, they can contact me at my Middlebury office, Diane Mincher. My number is 802-388-4969, or they can email me. Camp is filling up. I think we're 75% full right now for this session, but there is still room. We hope that it is a closed site, so that means kids do have to register ahead of time. Camp starts Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, so we hope to have a full site and maybe next year even go more days and maybe even a larger age group.
And so, Amanda, how can a family find out about the closest summer meal site in their area?
Right, so there's several ways that families can find out more about particularly those open drop-in meal sites that I mentioned. So first of all, they can call 211, which is and I'm hoping there's going to be a slide that's going to lay out these options for folks.
Yep, we have that.
Great, so they can call 211, which is a great resource for all kinds of information that will support health, well-being, and folks just sort of getting the resources that they need. Another resource is vermontfoodhelp.com, which is a website that Hunger Free Vermont maintains, and starting early to mid-June, we'll have a list of all of those open sites. And then we're really excited this summer, we're piloting a new tool, a text to find a summer meal site program.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so families and teens would be able to text a simple code, Meals VT, it should be on the screen, to the number 877-877. And they get a text back asking for their address or their zip code. Once they do that exchange, then they'll get a text back with the 3 closest meal sites to them. So we're trying to take advantage of that new technology to get this information out to people.
And what about a community if they're interested in maybe opening a site?
Yeah, sure. So that would be certainly welcome. We'd be more than happy to help you with that at Hunger Free Vermont. So what I recommend is giving us a call at Hunger Free Vermont. The number is 802-865-0255. And we can explain to you how the program works. We can help you figure out who in your community should be involved. We do a lot of work actually in communities, facilitating meetings, helping people come together and develop a plan for implementing a summer meals program. So that's a lot of what we do. So we're certainly happy to help with that.
So you can tailor a program to fit just about any community.
We do our best, certainly, yes. And we have a lot of experience at this point working with a diversity of communities around the state. So.
Well, that's great news. I want to thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.
For a video copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-ATF-3430. Across the Fence is brought to you as a public service by University of Vermont Extension and WCAX-TV.